What's going on, guys? Chase with iDub Hockey, hanging out with Tyson, who's the brand manager of sticks for Bauer Hockey. A little different style of insight videos this year, but over Zoom, we're going to go ahead and walk through this really exciting new Nexus Geo line. A lot of exciting tech and spec that I can't wait to get into, but let's talk about maybe the style of player and the style of shooter this entire line is truly built for.
Yeah, so I think it's a great place to start. When we talk about Nexus, for those people who have kind of a decent understanding of Nexus, not a lot has changed in terms of the player profile that we're targeting here. Our Nexus line has always been what we would deem kind of our most versatile stick. With it being a mid-kick point, it really can react in any situation for any type of shot. So the nice piece about it is with that mid-kick, where your lower hand can be positioned anywhere on the stick, and it's going to really have that real nice load and release factor to it. So we really look for those players that maybe are kind of a little bit more of a drag and release type of shot. They move their lower hand position a lot when they shoot. And they take a lot of different types of shots throughout the game. I think that this is a real good option for them.
A player that likes to do it all and really likes the best of both worlds between a low kick, quick release and a big, powerful shot like Supreme as well, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it's a very reactive stick. The way we talk about a lot of times with our mid kick is some people get a little bit confused thinking that with a mid kick it'd be softer in the middle. It's actually the opposite. It's actually a little bit stiffer in the mid part and it's soft on both ends. Mm-hmm. So you can think of it almost like a bow and arrow where you're kind of pulling back and releasing that shot. That's really what this stick is meant to do. So the overall goal with Nexus is to make that middle area and the bottom and the top work really seamlessly together to make it as easy to pull kind of that bow and arrow back to release it because you're going to get all that energy flowing into the puck.
And I think we see this in all top three price points in the Nexus line this year is some real exciting technology that truly helps to make that as efficient and effective as possible. You guys call it your ER spine. We saw it debut in the Nexus ADV. So for someone who hasn't checked out this really exciting, totally different shaft geometry, what was kind of the inspiration behind it? And obviously, what does it do for you as a player out there?
Yeah, so, with our ADV sticks and the technologies, it really gives us an opportunity to try something a little bit more futuristic. And the ultimate goal a lot of times is to shed as much weight out of the product as we can. We know if we can shed weight out, it's going to improve performance and make it a little bit easier to load and release the puck. So you saw with Supreme, our ADV, and then our ultrasonic, we really now need to utilize geometry to improve that performance and to shed weight out. So with ultrasonic, it's a high kick, so we need to focus near the taper and the shape there. For Nexus, because the middle part of the shaft is the stiff point, we needed to focus that new geometry in the middle of the stick. So it might be a little bit hard to see here, but there's just a little ridge on the back. You can certainly feel it when you pick up that stick. Mm-hmm. And what this allows us to do by using this little spine on the back is it allows us to remove excess carbon fiber layers that we used to have to put in the stick to make it stiff. So when we're now using this geometry by removing excess carbon fiber, number one is going to remove weight. So that's how we can get this stick down in weight compared to the 2N Pro. But it's also going to make it much easier, as I mentioned before, to be able to load and lean in with that bottom hand to be able to get as much energy into the stick as you can very easily. So those are kind of the biggest benefits in terms of performance. Mm-hmm. The other piece of why we look to use geometry versus just shedding out layers, if we just remove carbon fiber layers, number one, it wouldn't be as stiff, so it wouldn't feel quite like a mid kick, but it also adds that durability factor. So we can remove the excess layers without sacrificing the durability of our elite level sticks.
And another very nice added benefit is that it's very comfortable in the back of the hand too. Kind of follows a natural contoured shape as you kind of, hold the stick in the back too. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, we did a lot of research on this. We did a lot of validation with consumers to make sure when they do pick up that stick, we knew when we were messing around with geometry, right where you put your lower hand, we wanted to be very smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the ultrasonic and the sonic taper, your hand doesn't really go down that low, except maybe on face-offs if you're a centerman.
Mm-hmm.
So for here, we got a lot of feedback, and we're really excited that it was, you know, overwhelmingly positive. To your point, it fits very comfortably in the palm of your hand, and it's shaped almost exactly the same way that your hand will be holding the stick anyway.
And then we talked a little bit off screen. This is very, very similar to that Nexus ADV, but there is a different style of a blade. It's not the Sling Tech blade that we saw in the Nexus ADV. So what's this new blade core? And maybe, you know, for those wondering, why weren't you able to bring that slingshot into the blade this year?
Yeah, so with ADV, obviously there was a lot of hype around Sling Tech. Bringing a hole in the blade is going to generate some buzz for sure. It's something that for us is an exciting technology and a technology we continue to explore. It's just that is, you know, for us, such an advanced technology, it's something that is pretty difficult to manufacture and build. So when we talk about ADVs and, you know, as a very limited release out in the marketplace, it's something that we can execute, but because of the advanced manufacturing capabilities that it takes, it's something that isn't necessarily able to carry over into our retail lineup, but certainly not pencils down on what that technology can bring to the marketplace. But for the Geo, we are very excited to introduce our new Omni Core. For us, and what we had with Nexus 2 and Pro, we had what was our R-Lite blade, which is one of our most popular blades we've ever released, one of our more popular blades in the NHL still. And the reason that is because it's got a nice kind of stiff core, but it has a dampening layer over top of it. So you get a nice feel that works very well with the mid kick, but that stiffness allows you to release that puck fairly easily and with a lot of control. So the difference and upgrade going from R-Lite to Omni Core is we've actually added a bridge right down the middle of that blade. So that would be behind the dampening layer. And that gives us kind of three big benefits. Number one is the blade's going to be much more durable. So it's going to last, you know, going to get that pop up that blade a lot longer versus what we have with the 2M Pro. But it's also going to be able to, it's added some linear stiffness. So when you bring it back, it's going to release a little bit faster due to that stiffness, but we're not sacrificing any of the feel. The torsional stiffness when the blade twists is the same. So you're going to get that nice dampening layer, the similar feel. If you love the feel of the 2M Pro blade, it's going to be there, but you're just getting those additional benefits with it.
Right. Yeah. More durability and a little more pop. I mean, with the same feel, it sounds like a win-win. And then the other big change that we find in this Geo, bringing over from the ADV, but just a big upgrade from the 2M Pro is that ACL technology for, you know, we've seen it in a handful of your top-of-line sticks, now finally making its way into Nexus. So for someone who hasn't checked out ACL, why is that such an important factor in this stick line this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's another key driver of the weight of the stick. So obviously the ER spine is a significant piece of how we're getting the weight down versus 2M Pro. ACL is the other big piece. So it's using more expensive and higher end carbon fiber, and the way that we lay it up within the stick allows us to utilize that in unique ways where we really pinpoint the different areas of the stick where we utilize it in order to maintain the durability properties, but we're able to get that weight down. So now when we talk about Geo, we couple that ER spine with ACL, we're able to get the weight down to 390 grams, which for us, we're very excited because we're able to carry that same weight across all of our top three sticks in each family.
Yeah, and that's so big for these mid-kick sticks like the Nexus, like the Ultrasonic, just being able to be sub 400 grams. Like we've talked about in the past, weight reduction is not just for the top-of-the-line stick this year. So we see some serious upgrades or, I guess, weight reductions in all three price points below this. And also in those two other price points, we see the ER spine. So let's talk a little bit about the 3S Pro and the 3S and what really make those so valuable for the price this year.
Yeah, so we can start with the 3N Pro. So, you know, very excited for this stick. This is actually something that's going to be positioned a little bit low in terms of pricing versus the 2X Pro and the 3S Pro, but still very competitive in weight. So number one, to your point, I think, you know, the differentiating factors, it does have ER spine in it. It will have TechStream on the blade, so it's got a nice, pop of the top end carbon fiber and this ER spine. And really the ultimate goal, which was similar to the 3S Pros, we went to the R&D team. We said, look, we have some really great technology in the Geo that's kind of sets the bar a lot higher versus where we've been in the past with Nexus. We want to still be able to offer an elite level stick with a lot of loaded technology and great performance at a lower price. Mm-hmm. And our ultimate goal was to match at least the 2N Pro, which they have. So this stick from a performance standpoint in the lab and through perception testing is on par with the 2N Pro, but it also is more durable than what the 2N Pro was. So you're getting a really nice stick with a lot of value in terms of elite, but it's at obviously a reduced price versus what 2M Pro or what Geo will be in the marketplace.
Right. And I mean, that 3N Pro just a few years ago would be one of the best performing sticks on the market. And I mean, that's not to say it's not still today. You guys have just raised the bar to another level with this, that ADV inspired series. But we see a lot of key tech also in the 3N this year too. So what are a couple key pieces we're going to find in that?
So again, we're looking to, it has the ER spine. So that ER spine goes all the way down into that 3M price point. So that will be a real nice selling feature, I think, for people who are looking for a lot of value at that performance level price point. The other big piece, obviously, with the ER spine, it helps us reduce weight. So it's coming in at 435 grams. That coupled with our max balance, which is very similar to what we have with our ACL technology at the top, kind of carried down through performance price points. So that helps reduce weight, gets a nice balance and feel to it. And then our HP mold technology, which is really a way for us to make it feel, even though it's a two-piece stick, it really feels and performs like a one-piece, the way that energy flows all the way through the shaft down to the blade, which are some real nice key upgrades. And the ultimate goal going through here now is, we're sharing the same weights all the way through the lines with all three of our sticks. So all the way from the top being at 395 or 390 grams, and now down even through here, all three families are 435 grams. So the consumer can really pick on the performance characteristics of our families and which one they think matches best with their game.
Right. And I like how you said it before. Some players maybe shop based off of weight and then, use whatever kick point, would fall into that weight category. Now, since you guys have everything so synonymous, it's just you truly buying based off your performance and your style of shooting, which is pretty awesome. But speaking of shooting, that performance level player, maybe that, recreational player moving into performance, they're probably looking at the N37. What are a couple key features that, you could sell on for that style of player there?
Yeah. So again, consistent theme for the last few conversations that we've had is the biggest focus is weight, trying to bring in some technology that will allow us to kind of shed as much weight as we can out of the product and be very competitive from a weight, balance, and feel standpoint. Mm-hmm. So the stick is coming in about 455, 460 grams, which is very competitive in terms for this price point. Again, the other key kind of features, that max balance that we're bringing down through, which allows us to shed that weight. The N37, as we're moving in, has that mid-kick technology, so kind of differentiating it from the other two families. So again, the way that we see this is once you identify with one of the families, we wanted to make it very similar as you go up or down in price points. So identify family first, what matches your game, what features would you want to be looking for that are different, and then go down through and see what price point makes the most sense for you.
Perfect. And I like to always end on what style of NHL shooter, really exemplifies what Nexus is all about.
That's a great call. I think that there are a lot of players that you could probably deem that are pretty versatile in what they can do on the ice. Right now, one of our key guys is David Pasternak has really kind of moved to the top end, and the way he scores goals, you see everything from, him setting up for one-timers on the power play for him to be able to kind of stick handle and get a quick release shot off in all these different situations. We've always had somebody like Jonathan Toews in the fold that can kind of do it all on the ice, is a good mix of a playmaker and a shooter. But when we really look down through the line, we have a lot of great guys that are using the Nexus stick. And I think it all goes back to that versatility and for them to feel comfortable in any situation on the ice.
Awesome. Well, Tyson, thank you so much for sitting down and calling in and walking us through this really exciting new Nexus Geoline.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And then for you at home that want to check out all of these price points from the new Bauer Nexus line, make sure you go to icewarehouse.com.